Hello and good day to you. Today's video, we are demonstrating the use of photographic images or image in making a decorative edge in our digital craft technique of 12 crafts of card making. We'll be demonstrating 3 different decorative edges: horizontal, vertical, and diagonal. Then we'll progress to the work surface where we'll make the handmade greeting card. For this project, we'll need a photographic image, digital, graphic software. I'm using Affinity Designer, printer to print the card if you desire, graphics tablet, and a stylus. I've already opened the software. Click on File, Open. A window appears. Locate the image you want to use. Click on the image. If you have a second image, when you see the image, when you've located that second image, press the Ctrl key on your keyboard and then click on the image. If you look at the file name, you will see both of the images that you selected in there. Then click on Open. We'll move into we are in Designer Personnel now, so we need to move into Pixel Personnel section of the software to edit this image, delete the background of the image, and do some editing. So click on Pixel Personnel section. Take the selection brush tool in the tool palette. The mode is Add. The width of the brush, I'll take a width of 18. And we'll work with that. You can zoom in to your work so that you see the edges properly, and don't forget to select the selection brush tool after using your zoom tool. Start selecting around the edge of your image. If while selecting, if you mistakenly select some part of the image that you want to retain, something like this, you can go into this, take the subtract mode of the selection brush tool, and you can come in and remove that. Don't forget to go back into the add mode to continue selecting. can see my finger reflection here in the flower, so I'm just going to select that. I want it to be filled with white. Or can leave it transparent. You can decrease and resize or increase the size of the selection brush as needed or as required. So I finished selecting. I'm going to, okay, I left one here. Leave that here. That composer, I can still leave that. You go to view, zoom to fit. Take my selection brush tool because I chose the zoom to just now. Then I'll resize the pixel, the width of the selection brush, and I'll just work on the background. I'll just move the selection background. Be careful when you resize. You don't want it to go back into your image and then you have to start all over again. So I'm going to resize again to a smaller size. Okay, here, okay, I still have one here. Let me bring this edge. Okay. Oh. Okay, so we finished selecting. On the palette here, click on the background tool. On the layer palette, release the padlock. I saw one, there's one string here, so I just click on it and make sure it's selected. Okay, there's another one here. There's one over here. Just checking before we delete. So if you're happy with it, you click on delete. But if you want to see it before you delete, click on the refine button with your selection brush tool still selected. Click on refine and you will see how the image is, and you see if there's any stray. This is how our image, this is what we tilt, this is what will be saved, this flower in orange. You can play with the information here. You can play with the menu here to adjust to whatever you want, but we are not using that. I'll click on cancel. Alternatively, you can click on select, grow, shrink. Depend on where it's selected, because the background is going to be deleted. Means that when you this grow, shrink, when you click to the left, it gives a negative number, and if you look at the the image is growing. There's going to be a border around the image. If you click to the right, it gives a positive number, and you see that the image is shrinking. Depend on what is selected. So I'll click on cancel there. If you go to select, invert pixel selection, now the selection is only on the image. You can now click on, if you click on the grow, shrink, it affects in a different way now. If you go to left to the negative, shrinks it, and to the right gives a border. So I just saw another one here. I'm going to remove that. Okay, I have to go back to select invert pixel to make sure. All right, so now you click on, just press delete on your keyboard, and here you have your image. Using the grow, shrink helps to clean the edges of your image. So click on select and deselect, and you have you don't need to. Here's our image. To deselect the image. So for this, I'll go to file. I want to save my work, so go to file, save as. I can call it, I'll say already have some. Okay, no, I don't have anyone here. Okay, yellow tip flower for decorative edge. If you want to tip your second image, you can use it, but I'm not going to do that. We have about 3 demonstrations. It's the same process. So go to file. We are now in designer personal, so go to file, new. The first card we'll be making is let's make a horizontal decorative edge card. Type is print, page preset custom, document unit inches, and page width is 8, page height 8, and DPI is 300, bleed 0. Click OK. Select a rectangle tool, the rectangle tool, just drag it across the work surface of your new document or the 8-inch card you're creating. In the color palette, click on a color to fill it. Then on the transform layer, transform palette, which is this XFM being abbreviated, once you click on it, it spells fully. The width of this rectangle, because make sure the rectangle is selected. The width is going to be 8, height 8, X and Y is 0, 0, so that it fits properly. Then click on the layer. So we'll come for yellow flower, edit, copy. Then we'll come to this image here and we'll say edit, paste. It's going to be a large image. So what I'll do is to press the Ctrl key on my keyboard and place my cursor on the diagonal and resize to how I want it to be. If you want it large, you can leave it like that. But if you want it small, you can resize. And I'll duplicate, move. If you have the second image, you can just put it to add as a nice floral bouquet or something. So now we have I'm going on the layer palette. First, I'll select this. Let me do that first. I'll select these flowers together. Let me duplicate one and save it for. Okay. Just take one of the flowers, duplicate it, and then make it invisible by unchecking it. Then select the flowers together and group. Click on group. You can right click on the layer palette and it will show you to group, and you can group it there. The flowers looks too big. I'm going to go back and resize it. I think it looks too big, so I'll delete this one and resize it. For the design I want to make, is too big for it. So press my control key. I've deleted the flower, so I'm going to press my control key. I've activated the one wing, the one that we made invisible, and deleted the one we grouped because it's too large for the design that I'm making. So the setting is just duplicating, is just doing the spacing for me. I can decide to do the spacing myself. So I'm going to move the spacing to how I want it to be. Okay, so I'll duplicate one again and make it invisible. Then I'll group the other flower together. Select the grouped flower, duplicate it, press the shift key on your keyboard and you can move it down. Then this rectangle, you can resize it so that it ends in the middle of one of the ends in the middle of the upper flower, and you can do same for the bottom of the bottom flower. Can also press the shift key and move it down so that it lines properly. Oh, I don't want it to. Oh, okay. So with the I'll select a rectangle now. Then in the tool palette, select the color picker tool, eyedropper color picker tool. From the flower, you can get some green image there. I'm just trying to see if I can get a green. Here we have green. Yes, that's fine. Just click on it. Alternatively, take the eyedropper in the color palette, and when you drag it, you see some pixels, and you can just select any color you want from there and fill your square with it. Sorry, rectangle is not square. So here we have the vertical decorated card. Duplicate the rectangle again. Fill it with white or yellow, depend on what. I'll fill it with white because I like the contrast that the white is going to give me. Resize it so that it looks like a ribbon. Duplicate it again. Can fill it with yellow this time. I'll come with the eyedropper and just pick a very light yellow. Because of the setting, it has resized itself, but I'm going to resize it to what I want it, the size I want it to be. Can duplicate it again and then fill it with a green. Then resize it. Here we have a nice border. So let's make a sentiment. You can use the oval tool or the cloud tool. I'm going to use the cloud tool. If you click, you can see some. If you click on the shape with this triangle, you see lots of other shapes hidden in it. In the drop down menu, you can select any one you want. I'm going to click on select the cloud tool, which is a flower shape because of the flower, and say if we want it. And I'll make the oh, sorry, I didn't know that was selected. And I'll make sure in the color palette I'll select white. You can use any shape that you want. Drag it across to form your shape. If you want, perhaps you don't like too much of the that is too much scallop, you can go to this node tool here and then convert, and you see the information of the cloud tool here. When you select the node tool, then you see the information for the node tool here. Click on convert to curves. You can delete any of the curve you don't want. With that, you can form your own you can form a shape of your choice. Let me see that. Okay, let's just leave that shape like that. Not taking away. We still have a lot to. With the node tool, you can alter any shape and turn it to whatever you desire it to be. So duplicate, click on it, duplicate. If you can use the eyedropper tool to select the color yellow here, or you go to your swatch palette and the recent colors that you've used will be shown here. Then click on the yellow to fill it with yellow. Pressing the Control key down, you can and dragging the cursor on the diagonal of the shape of the flower, or the shape flower shape. You can resize it on all four sides to give you a nice border. I'll duplicate the yellow flower again and fill it with a green. And here we have it. I think the white is too close to the yellow, so it's making it I'll leave it like that. I was thinking that the white is too close to the yellow, so it's not giving a high contrast. So let me see if okay. This was what I okay. So now with the text tool, I'm just going to type the word thanks. You can resize it if you want to, but if you don't want to resize it here, you can use so that you take note of the size that you've resized it to be. You can come in here for the text information and then resize it there to whatever size you want it to be. You can say 64. Then decide the font. So let's take a font. Don't be indecisive now. Just pick any one. And we arrange it. We're going to make the font color white. Fill it with white. No. Not visible. Okay, I'll fill it with green. It's visible now. Let me see if I duplicate it and fill it with white, how it will be. And I'll use this to act as a shadow. Duplicate and bring down. Now going to remove that and fill it with. Okay, so here's our card, horizontal decorative edge card. You can make another edge here to make it like a different edge, so we'll do that when we're doing the second edge. That's a diagonal. Okay, so here we have it. If you decide not to use the flowers instead and you want to use, you can use any shape. Or if you decide you want to make a border for this flower, you can also do it. We'll do that in the when we are doing the decorative. So let's save our work, close it, then we work on the decorative. So I'll go to File, Save As, go to Photographic. Then we just take this and say decorative edge, and I'll put it horizontal. So the horizontal decorative edge card. Okay, and we'll click on Save. So I'm going to close this and we'll work on the second one. Still using the same image, go to File, New. We'll use the same setting for the card, 8-inch card, and click on OK. Select the rectangle tool, drag it across the work surface. Fill it with a color of choice, and then let's make our rectangle fit the square card. So go to the transform layer, transform palette. Width is 8, height is 8, x and y axis 0, and you see that it fits. So I'm just going to activate the layer palette. Okay. I'll duplicate this rectangle and I'll fill it with white because I like the contrast it's going to give. This time I'll just press the Shift key on my keyboard and make a little resize from one side, from two sides. I'll duplicate this again and fill it with green. Because of the setting, because I've resized it before I duplicate it, just helped me in spacing it. This is a nice spacing, so I'll leave it. Select the red again, the red rectangle, duplicate it and bring it to front. You can use click on the layer tool here, sorry, the layer menu here, and go to arrange and move to front, or you can use the icons here. Select the node tool in the tool palette, select the node tool, and when the information for the node tool appears up here, click on convert to curves. Then select one of the curves in the diagonal and click on delete. Here you have a nice curve, and here you have a rectangle on the, I said sorry, a triangle on the diagonal. So I'll fill that with a different color. Let me take on yellow. Okay. Oh, let me take a different color. I'll select white first. For the meantime, let me fill it with white, because I'm going to put the flowers and I want you to see the difference. Oh. So go for your flower tube. That's a yellow flower that we're using for decorative edge. Click on edit, copy, come back to this diagonal image, diagonal card. If you're making this card if you're making a greeting card, you can use a square card like so, score it on the diagonal and fold. If you don't want to trim, you can just fold it. If we have time, I'll create a dimension for it so that you see what I'm talking about. So go to edit and paste. Here we have our flower. It's quite large, so I'm going to resize it. You can use it as large as it is. It all depends on you, but I want to resize it. So I'll press the Ctrl key on my keyboard while I drag the cursor on the diagonal to resize it. So I'll duplicate it again and arrange it how I want it to be. I'll keep on duplicating and arranging. So here we have a nice diagonal. This is going to be the inside of the card, and this is going to be the outside of the card. So I can fill this with green. Oh no, let me fill it with white. Then we'll go back into the layer palette. I'll duplicate it and fill it with green. Then I'll resize. Press my shift key down and resize on the bottom diagonal. And resize on the bottom diagonal. It's going to resize it on two sides for me. Let me see if I like I need a nice border around. So I'll duplicate that again and fill it with yellow. Then here I'll fill with white. This one I'll fill with yellow, and this last one I'll fill with the green. Just going to move the. So here we have a nice decorative edge. If you want a scallop border, I'm going to select those edges together. So I'm going to select them. Pressing the shift key, I'm going to remove, and the control key, I'm going to remove some of the flowers, some of the image that I don't want to select. So I'll press the control key and select all the flowers, and I'll click on group. So have it on group. If you want to clip them for printing, when we are designing the vertical, I will demonstrate that. So here we have it, and I'm going to duplicate this. We'll go into Pixel Personal section. Before then, I want to save my work because the file is getting larger. So go to File, Save As. Let me go to Photographic, and I'll save it as okay. This is going to be Technique 2, and this is going to be diagonal. Okay. So we've duplicated our work. I'm going to make the original invisible by unchecking this. So this is duplicated. We'll go to Pixel Personal section of the software. If we're working in photos, we just use Magic Wand or so. You can see it's the selection brush. So take the selection brush, and we'll make sure that the layer that the mode is add, and I'm going to increase the width of the brush and make sure the layer that we want to work on is what is activated. So we just select. We select on both sides. You can select on just one side, but I'm just going to select on both sides. Or should we? I think one side is all right, because we want it on one side. Or let me demonstrate both sides, then we can lower it to both when we don't want that. Okay, let me do both sides. And if you don't want both sides, you can do one side. So I'll reduce the size of my brush. If we had done the shrink, and you can also do this process when you were when we are trying to tube the image, you can do this other process, just duplicate it and then make a border around it for the design, so that I don't have to go through this journey again. Then you will have one tubed image and one tubed image, and another tube and a second tube image with a nice border. So we are trying to create a border around it. Sometimes you don't want the flower, you just want the edge of the flower on the design, on the card, sorry. So that's what we are trying to create now. So if you are doing both ends, this is what we are going to do. This is exactly what you do. Let me see if I can refine this a bit. All right, so we can make do with this. That been easier in Affinity Photo with the I know in other software it's called Magic One. I don't know what they call it there now. So then you go to selection and you go to grow and shrink. If you move in, it's going to grow, and if you move out, it's going to shrink. So we just move to, because the background is selected. So what I'm going to do is to go to select invert pixel, so that the selection is on the image, because the image you want to grow and shrink. So then we'll go back to select and grow and shrink, so that when we move to the right, it grows. Now I'll make it about 20 pixels. Let's just make the round one. I'll tell it to apply. I'm going to select selection brush now and tell it to subtract. There's an edge here. I want it to subtract this edge. And any edge you don't want, you can use the selection brush to go in there to tell it to subtract it or to add it. So now we have this. Then click on the paint brush. Select the paint brush. For this, I'll just use a black. Then you duplicate, please, and make the original invisible. Then with the paint brush, the brush you select is basic. Let me bring this. Sorry, let me bring yes, this brush too now. Okay. So select the brush and select your paintbrush from the tool palette. Then the brush, and then in the brush menu here, go to basic. And then select any one. I'll take on this 100. I'll take this round brush 128. The pixel is 120. You can resize it as you desire. Then make sure the image is selected. Color, choose a nice color. I'm taking black, then start coloring. Don't know why it's not coloring again. Let me see something. Maybe I did something wrong. Okay, it's only coloring on one of the grouped layer, which is wrong. Okay, it's also color on everything. If you look at the layer palette, it's not coloring on. I have to click on it, which is not nice. So let me go back. So we are back to the image being selected. If that's it, I'm going to color like that. So if it's not coloring properly, I don't know what happened. Just click on the play button and go into each of the layers and color them in. Then there's another one here that I don't want. I'm going to erase that. I don't know why that. And there's another spot here that I'm going to erase. There's a selection here. Okay, I've erased it. I need to. So now we've seen the how it's going to be. I'm going to move it backward. Go to layer, arrange, and move back one. Make sure the full group is selected. Sorry. And tell it to move back 1, 2, 3. It's now at the back. Then if you activate your flower now, one of the flowers, you will see a nice edge on it. So I'm still going to move this color down, this color border down. I'll move it until okay. So here you have it. You can also, let me mask it. You can also use just the edge without the flower. You can use the flower and the edge to add a nice border. It all depends on you and what you want. So I'm going to go back to edit undo because I want my selection. And if I decide that I want to make this edge green, then with my brush, so we've colored it with a green. If there's any strained pixel or this, you can zoom in, use your selection brush, use the subtract or add. Let's say there's a stray here, or want to remove this pointy part here. Let me zoom in closely. You can come in here and click. If you put add, it goes in. So I'll go to subtract and remove it. Then I want to delete. If you look closely now, I've removed that part and I want to delete it. You can come with the eraser tool. You go to selection, invert pixel, and then you can erase it. So if there's any stray pixel there, you can work on it using the selection brush tool and the eraser. With the selection, invert pixel setting. So we've made an edge already. Go to select, invert pixel, and here we have it. We've already moved the layer below. Can see it here. And if we decide to make, we can omit it. Oh, sorry. We can make it invisible. Sorry, not omit. Okay, see, there's a stray pixel here. So I'll come in with, I'll say select, invert pixel. With the eraser brush, I'll erase that stray here. Make sure the layer is what is selected. So go back to select, invert pixel, and the selection. You can change the color to whatever design you want it to be. So I'll go select, deselect, and here we have a nice edge. So go back to Designer Personal. I want to add, select the ellipse shape tool. First, let's save our work. I'll say file, save. The file is sort of large, and we don't want it, bugs to happen in software and the software will crash. So to save out, we just have to continue saving. Or constantly save our work. If you don't want the edge, you can omit it. So can omit it, we can leave it. I think we should leave it. Take the ellipse shape tool and let's put our sentiment in here. You can put your sentiments up here or a verse here. You can put let's put it here. Duplicate. I'll fill it with yellow. Press my Control key and resize. Then I'll duplicate again and fill it with white. Select the text tool and I'll say thanks, or let me say best wishes. I change the font. I'll fill the font. I'll change the color of the font to green. So that's our image, our design, doing a decorative edge, a diagonal decorative edge, using the photographic image for a diagonal decorative edge, or a decorative edge on the diagonal. I'll group this. You can move it, you can place it here, or you can place it here or here, depend on what you want. So click on File, Save, and we'll close it. Let's design the third technique. Go to File. This is on the vertical, so make it A5 okay, A5 portrait. That would be nice. Or can still make it 8 inches. Let's go for 8 inches. You can make it A5 or 8 inches. Let's use the same setting. So go for File, New. The menu pops, a window pops with some menu for some information. The same setting that we used in the previous design. Then click on OK. 8 inches. Select the rectangle tool, drag it across, click on the color palette and fill with a color of choice. Then on the layer palette, on the transform palette, let's resize the rectangle to fit our image. The width is 8 inches. The height is 8 inches, x-axis 0 and y-axis is 0. Then we duplicate this. Right click on the layer palette, select the rectangle and duplicate. Fill it with color white. Let's work with white. Okay? So press the Shift key and resize it on only 2 sides. And drag it on the diagonal so that it resizes on only 2 sides. I'll duplicate again and fill it with yellow. I'll press the Shift key down and resize it on only 2 sides. Select the rectangle, the green rectangle, that's the first rectangle, duplicate it and bring to front, move to front. You can use layer, arrange, move to front, or you can use the icons, or you can use these icons here. Just drag it almost half of the design of the, resize the rectangle to almost half or so. It all depends on you. Okay, let's not make it half. Duplicate the rectangle that you've resized. Fill it with white, the new duplicate. Press the Ctrl key and resize it on all 4 sides. Duplicate it again. Fill it with the yellow. So to use the same yellow, we can use our eyedropper tool, or we can go to our swatch palette and we'll see the color there. So now we have an offset. We have a front. We want to give a decorative edge to it. Some people call it deco edge for short. Select, we'll go to the tubed flower. That's the image you want to use for the decorative edge. Click on edit, copy and copy it. Come back to the front of the card, this vertical card that we are designing. Click on edit and paste. If you notice it's a very large file, press your Ctrl key down and drag it on the diagonal so that it resizes it. I'm going to make this large, the flower large. Arrange it where you want it to be. Going to change the this rectangle to white and the inner one to yellow. Duplicate the image again. Right click on the layer palette to duplicate and just move the image. Arrange it how you want it to be. It's not compulsory for it to be in linear form. You can have the image going in and out to create a nice decorative edge. And you can rotate, flip your image and play around with it until you are satisfied with the design. Let's save our work because it's a large file. So we say File, Save As. So this is technique 3, and we'll say vertical. Then we'll save. We don't need this image again, so we can close the flower tube. We can close it, and I don't need this image. Can close it too. So here we have the flower used as a vertical edge, but we want to make some more design. So duplicate the green, bring it to front. I'm just going to make something like a ribbon border here. I'll use layering technique. So duplicate this slim green ribbon design. Resize it and fill with yellow. Duplicate it again and fill it with white. Go for, which tool should I use now? Okay, I'll go for a rectangular tool. Or let me check if I can. Okay, let's use the I'll use the teardrop tool or shape. Remember, you can alter the shape the way you want. Just select the node tool. Once you activate it, you can click on the icon here or the arrow at the end if it's not showing. But make sure the node tool is selected, then click on Convert to Curves. Then you can alter it the way you want to. I'll fill it with green. I'll duplicate it and fill it with yellow. Press my Ctrl key and resize it so that I have nice border all around. Duplicate it again and fill it with white. And I'll put a sentiment just for you. time I'll change the sentiment using Apple Boy BNT. Green. And change the color of the sentiment to green. Let me see if I change. I don't like the way the card is looking. Think I'll change, trying to change it. I don't like it. Let me use another color. Let's select another color. With my dropper tool, I'm just going to select a different color. I like this green. Let me go for purple. So I'll change this. Let me use the brown, not dark brown. I'll make this a light green. So, if you want to, you can, let's save. Let me click on File Save first. If you want to, you can duplicate the flower and resize it. So I'll duplicate that. Can use it as fillers. Then we'll group them. We'll group the flowers together. And we have a nice decorative edge. So I'll just zoom out a little so that I can see all flowers. I will group them. Okay, that's it. Then if you can decide to use this flower as you can decide to use the flower, or you can use the edge. So let's use the edge for this. Before we start do the edge, I'll just save. Then duplicate the flower. Make one invisible. We'll go to Pixel Personal section of the software. Take the selection brush. Mode is add. The width of, I'm going to increase the width to about 64. The width of the selection brush. And we are just going to select. Or should we omit this? Because we've done it before. I think we should omit it. Let's leave it. So here's our design used as a vertical border for a greeting card. If you want to, you can make this vertical border. You can do the technique of using it to create just the edge and omitting and making the flower invisible. We did that for the diagonal border. You can do same technique. So you can do same technique. If we're going to print, you can just select only the front and print without the sentiments. Or without the sentiments, let me group the sentiment first. You can select the front and print without the sentiments, or you can print the flower and layer it on front of the card. So if we want to print, I think I should do the diagonal instead of this. I'll do the diagonal for the handmade greeting card. Oh, I don't need to print this. I'll open the diagonal one, and that's what we will use. So I just click on File, Save, close this, and open the diagonal one. So I'll click on Open Recent, and let's find the diagonal here. Okay. If we want to print, if we select this image, it's going to be out of sight because the flower is larger than the. If we select only the flower, it's going to be large. It's still good because in case of our card, I think I prefer that. But if you want it to be exact, if you want to print it on the front of the card, then you trim and do the orders yourself. You will need to clip this image into a design. So I'll duplicate that for those that want to clip. And then we'll make a rectangle. Which of the rectangles? Okay, the green rectangle is good. Duplicate the green rectangle, bring it to front first. Get the node tool, convert to curve, and then we delete the curve. We delete one of the nodes on the angle. Here we have it. We can decide to add another node and bring it up. Add another node here and until it lines properly. So now we have a node for the card. For the flower, sorry, we have a shape that the flower is going to clip into. We'll bring the flower, the grouped flower, to the top, and then we take it on the layer palette, lift it and drag it into the design until it clips into it. We can change this color to white. So if you are going to print, this is how we're going to print there. We can trim this side off. Or if you don't want to trim, you can go with the node tool. Once you remove it, it's going to delete. And you can trim the other side. You can trim it. You can trim the outer part. Let me fill it with another color so that you see. So we can trim this upper black. We can trim this black side out to get a nice decorative edge. So here we have the clipped image. If you want to print just the clipped image as it is, this is how you're going to print it. But you can fill it with white, you can fill it any color you want. So then you trim this upper part of the card to give you the decorative edge. Upper part of the flower design to give you the decorative edge. That's this black, the upper part of this black polygon shape to give you the decorative edge while following the edge of the flower. So I'm going to bring our designs back. If you desire this edge too, remember to print them. So I'm going to select how we're going to print this now. So to print, I'll go to File, New, A4. I want it to be landscape or portrait. Portrait is alright. Let's see it on portrait. Then we select the flower, edit, copy, come to the A4 card and say edit, paste. Here we have it. So when we print, it's gonna print like so. If we decide landscape, let's print it landscape, then we can trim excess. So just go to File, New, A4 setting, and I'll uncheck the portrait, make it landscape. Then I'll say edit, paste. And here we have it. You can rotate it before you we can rotate it and then print it. This is how it's going to be. Then after we finish printing, we'll layer it on the card on a diagonal. Can decide if what part of the flower we want. We can make two. Let's see if I can adjust it so that two can come out of it. I just put another one at the bottom and duplicate and put one on top. That's if you are going to take only the flowers. You cannot layer the flower and make a decoupage, but if you don't want to, just omit those ones. And we'll leave this, which is the real one, okay. And we'll print only, and we will print only this. So I'll go to File, Export. We are exporting this A4 print, and we'll do the others. JPEG, quality 100%, whole document. Click on Export. So say Photographic. Decorative edge diagonal technique. Card A4 print 1. Then we can put all this again and export it and say A4 print 2. If we decide to decoupage, we'll have another image to layer our flower to create a dimension. Go to File, Export, whole document, and we'll use the same. You can also, if you want to save it as in Affinity format, you can do that, but I'm not doing that. So close this, don't need this one. So here we have the images as a decorative edge on the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal. Let's go to the work surface where we make the handmade greeting card. We are now on the work surface to make the handmade decorative edge greeting card. And to make our greeting card, we need a paper trimmer or guillotine. We need a base card with our logo on it. We need a scoreboard can use any scoreboard that you have. We need foam pads if you decide to decoupage your image, to layer your image. That's the, sorry, I'm just trying to put this off. If you decide to trim around the images and layer them over the other, you can also use glue. We need liquid glue. We need a scoreboard and a scoring tool. Sorry about that. We need scissors to trim around our image. We need cards for layering. We need a white card too. Okay, forgot that one here. We need cards for layering. So here we have cards for layering. You need a white one to add lighting to it. A bit of lighting. You need your printable or printed sheets of the design of the image that you're going to use for the decorative edge. So we have contrast cards that we're going to use for layering and our base card. So to start off, I'm going to put this aside and then we'll start. To start off, we'll place the card, open it. Mine's in landscape. You can make yours portrait if you want to. It's up. But you're going to place it on a line diagonally. You can use any line you want. And make sure it's a straight line, that the line passes from the top here and it's the same line that's at this point here. The top point here and the top and the other point there. So I'm going to make sure, if I'm using 6, I'm going to just make sure it's on 6 here. I'm just going to put my fingertip there and I'm going to check that and make sure on the diagonal it's on 6 there. So any line you want to use. And here we have it. We'll just roll. Now we've created diagonal line. Just going to, I'll flip it vertically and score it on the same line. Since I know that I use 6, I'm going to use that same line. And make sure on this side it is on the 6th line. So and I'm going to rescore because I want to make a fold and I want the fold to be precise and also to be pronounced. A defined fold. And here we have it. I just folded with my hands and you can see that it has given me a nice triangular flap. If you want to make another one, you can make another card like this and glue it to this. It can be in front, it can be at the back, and you have a double triangular flap fold. But we just need one. Let me clean this dirt off. So here we have our fold. We're going to cut, going to measure in here and layer this. I didn't print any sentiment for it, so I'm going to just leave it blank. But I'll layer it and leave it blank so that we can write our verse ourselves. It's going to be like a blank card. But for the front, you can just place your card over the first one and trim around. But if you still want this decorative edge, then there's another step that we can go. You can place your card inside and then you can trim, then glue it to the inside of this card, and you can give yourself a decorative edge by using, here's the second sheet. It can still be on top, it can be inside, depending on where you want it to be. Then you trim around it. Let's do that one. So I'm going to place, okay, before I do it, let's trim it out first. I'm just going to put a mark here so that we know where the line is going to be. So I'm going to just put a curve here, and we know it's on, the height is 8 inches, and we just want to, and the width is 8 inches, but it's on a diagonal. So I'm going to put this aside and bring our guillotine to do the work. I'm just going to put it on the 8-inch. Oh, it's on 8 inches. Okay, that means I have to make sure I work in inches now. So I've brought a ruler. I need my guide here is on centimeters. So I need the equivalent of this card in centimeters. Because of the decorative edge, I'm going to omit the decorative edge now. It's 19.5. So when I'm making my card, I'll make it within the range of 19.5 centimeters square. Let me see over here if it's the same. Okay, 19.5 centimeters square. So it's going to be within the range of 19.5 centimeters square because of this decorative edge. We are trying to make our own decorative edge in a diagonal format or form. Since it's 19.5, and I want a little, and I'm going to just cut out the square first. 19.5. Let me cut that one out. Sorry, it moved. I have to make sure it lines properly. So now I'm going to cut 19.5 square up. So this is how the inner is going to be. We can trim it. We can use that 19.5 to trim off, to just make a little border and then trim around it. Okay. So I'm just trying to see if this is going to be enough. So let's use this. Now I'm going to place it. You can see that we've placed it. I don't know if this is getting in the way now. So we've placed it. We've made a 19.5 decorative edge. Sorry, 19.5 centimeters square with our contrast color. That's the turquoise. What we're going to do next, we need to make our edge, the decorative edge. We're going to get one of these sheets. I think this is preferably this, because this is single, and this one we can use it to do the decoupage. So place this on top. We'll trim. We just place it and trim, or we can glue it and then trim, depending on which way you want to go. But I prefer to just place it on top so that we can have we can have this ninth edge before we start. We can make something like this, exactly the same card. If you want to, you can. It's nice for you to, before you start doing the layering for the inside of the card. So let's start with the layering inside and do the front. Or we can do the front, flip it, and then do the inside. I think I prefer doing the front first. I like doing the tedious ones first and leave the easy ones for later. So I'm just going to place it first. So over here. And then we know we want to place it like so. So I'm just thinking which side of the we need to place. So push this aside, push our base card aside. Make sure your card, this pattern is on the diagonal to your card. That means the flower, this part has to come out. And don't mind if it pops a little, if it pops out a little, the design, because we want a nice decorative edge like this. We want our own edge border. It's easier if you can create an offset, or if you have what do you call this? Just want to see the back and make sure it's on it properly. Okay, so just going to, I'm just going roughly. You can also we still have some to cut out, and try to cut out any of them. No. Still need to. Trying to make it at a point here so that it forms. Okay. I think we have that already. So I'm just going to try and knit in a bit. And if you want to, you can just slide it, and then we have a nice decorative edge. You can see that when I did slide it. But what I'm going to do is to knit in it. I just went roughly. So I'm going to knit in it because we're going to use this top of this upper part. So I'm going to knit in it. If you decide to omit some part of the flower, that's all right. And remember, you have to hold the printable and your contrast card that you want to use for the decorative edge together. So here we have it, and when you slide it now, it's a bit neat now, and when you slide it, here we have it. So I'm going to we can decide to place this here, or we can decide where we want to place it. So I think I'll place it on top here, and then we'll trim off any excess that's coming out. Let's go closer. So I just place the glue first. It's easier when you put the glue. Has to be fast. To make sure I don't glue these two tabs together, I'm going to open my work, and I'm going to place glue on only this side, and make sure I do not come out of the triangle. So that when I fold it, you can fold it to glue. So that you want to see what you're doing. Just press gently so as not to smear the glue. And here you have. So let's make the white one. The white one don't need to be. We just need to. You can just get the card. And if you want to, okay, the white and green. If you want to measure, you can. You remember this is 19.5 centimeters. You can make this. Let's make this 19. That will give a 9 edge to it. So we'll make this white 19 centimeters, and then we'll make the green. If that's 19.5, we'll make it 19, then we'll make this 18.5. We just need it, and we're going to trim it lower than this. Okay, so let's do that quickly. You can also use this other side that you can use this as an interlocking. You understand? If you want to, you can keep it. We can keep it and use it inside. That's nice. We use it as an interlocking. Make sure it flips properly to the right side. Okay. And we can glue it and use it as an interlocking inside. That's good. We can. Oh, that's nice. We'll just leave it. Okay. So let's quickly. 19.5. So it's going to be 19. Make sure it lines properly. Need it to line. Oh, I think I made a mistake cutting this. Let me see. It's 5 cuts on one side, 19. I've made, okay, I'll make sure that's the side I'm gonna trim off, because I think I made a mistake. I didn't press down properly. Okay. going to so here we have the grain. Just put that aside. If you want to trim, you would have cut all of them together, trim them if you want them to have the same edge, but it's not necessary because the flower is going to cover all the other edges, except you want the edge to come out. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to score. Okay, we need to remove okay, I forgot about this edge here. Oh no, it's going to cause some problems. So I'm going to trim this one off quickly. Yeah, I forgot there's one tiny pointy edge here. Okay, that's it. So now I've made this one 19. It's going to be a little bit. I need to trim, I think, about 0.5 centimeters. So I'll make this one. Just going to make it 18.5 to trim up that 0.5 centimeters. So that's good. All right, now we have it. Good. Just need it very thin, but one is 18.5. So we need our scoreboard too. I've messed this table. So we need our scoreboard, and we're going to score on the diagonal. Table is too small. I'll double it. So just pick any groove on the sort of, let me see, use the 6 and make sure it lines with 6 here. The point tip is on 6 here. So I'm going to try it. No, you're not on 6 yet. Okay, now you're on 6. So I'm just going to make sure it's on 6 and I'm going to scroll down. Can flip it. We need a pointy edge. Oh, I didn't line it, sorry. Sorry, I didn't line it properly. Okay, here we have it. So bring in this and I'll just place it and see how nice it's going to be. That's fine. Good, good, good. I'm trying now. Okay. Let me use the paper trimmer. I don't know how to make a straight cut. So let me make good use of paper trimmer to do that job for me. Make sure I line it properly and trim. You can use the guillotine, but mine is blunt now. I want you to cut something sharp. Sounds like metal. Okay. On this side I reduced. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's the side I did. Okay. So this is the side. I'm just going to glue it down. That's my glue. Oh, I forgot that. Okay, since we have a white edge, I don't need to make another white in between. I wanted a little white. Let me do it. I want a little white. I prefer white in between some dense colors. It's nice when you have a little white peeking through, but I'm going to make the white very thin. Okay. I forgot about the white, so I'm going to make the white very thin. And instead of going through the process of, I'm just going to trim now. I'll push it a little bit up so that I can make, I'll just push it a little bit up and trim so that I can make good use of, then I'll push it down to adjust, to create the shadow I need and the lighting. If you add white, it gives a kind of, when it's being looked at, it gives some kind of 3D effect, like a reflection. That's why I like using white. We've cut the white now. And I'm just going to glue it down so that it makes that nice edge we need. Putting the glue on the white flap or the white triangle. Be careful of the edges. Don't put much glue there, if not it will smell when you put the triangle down. Okay, now yes, this one is all right. So I'll glue this, put the glue on the smaller triangle. That's why I'm putting it on the green, because if I put it on the white, I won't know the exact spot that's supposed for it to be on. Except if you are placing it topper, then you can when we are doing the vertical, you understand why we have to go the opposite side of putting glue when we are doing a vertical border. So I'm just gonna place this. Sorry about that. Oh, I need a tweezer for this. But let me use my hands. The glue is coming out. Made a mess of glue there. Okay. So I have a little mess of glue here. I'm just going to use my fingers. Just be sharp about it. Finish it. I have glue stain on my fingers. All right. Okay, then we have to layer a design on it. We'll need to trim around on the other side and then layer. But if you don't want to trim, you can just make another triangle like so. You can leave this and make another triangle with this white printable. Make sure it's on top. Just make sure your triangle is here so that the decorative border stays, and you trim off any excess if you want to. So if you want to go that way of having a white here, but I don't want to, I just want to use just the image. So if you decide to not to use only the image, you can just trim around. You trim around. You can use this triangle to make your measurements and make it a bit smaller than the triangle, and then glue it on top if you don't want to trim around the edge here. Should we go? We've already used white. If we hadn't used white there, then we would have done that. Would have gone there. Would have gone this way. Okay, so I'm just going to trim around it. and we'll do that same thing, but glue it to the top of the green, or you can glue it to any one you desire. You can even take this top, glue it to another top of a different card. Can still be the blue to make a repeat on it, and then you have a nice design. But remember, you are the designer. That is why I started with a photographic image for this project, so that you can go out, take your own pictures, be it your phone, be it your camera. You can take pictures and just play around and see what you can come up with. So we're going to glue this, and anyone that comes out will trim off. All right, so I'll place the glue. Oh, that's where it becomes difficult. Let me before I place the glue, let me see. So okay, this I will make the side of the glue. Let me put a fingerprint there because I don't want that glue to come out. I'm just going to press down my finger, just put a little crease so that I know that that part is being. I'm not putting the glue there, and I'll take the second side where I'm not putting the glue. Even with the glue, I can trim off. There's no problem there. So I'll place the glue and trim. Then clean my scissors with a nice wipe. For thin ends, you can use a toothpick to spread the glue, especially on those pointy bits that you need, that we need to stay down. Put the glue on my mat. I'm just going to put some glue here. We need enforcement there. I hope it's the right side. Now I don't know which is the right and which is the upper part. But before I place that, let me see. Okay, I think this is it. Just going to push down a bit, try and create my decorative edge. Move it slightly to the left or to the right, just slightly, and a little bit up. not too up. So I'm trying. The good thing about liquid glue is that when you use it, you can move the design around before it sets. So that's what I'm trying to do. Okay. Please don't smear. Okay, so here we have the 9th border. I'm going to trim, then we can do a decoupage there. But before the decoupage, you can trim. If you want to trim, to the blue, which I just made a mistake, I would have trimmed it to the blue. You can trim, or you can leave it on the green. It's still all right. To be as if it's the green that has the design. So I've just trimmed it to the green here, and let's see how we're gonna trim this. Let's trim this today. Let's trim. This, we turn it out and we just trim from here. We don't need it. Just trim it out like so. So here we have our nice decorative edge card. Okay. If you want to layer, we have this front table now. You can. We have different ones that you can layer. This is the main one. That's why it goes from this side. Okay. I think that's how it is. You can trim around it and layer. You can trim just about some few flowers. You can trim this upper part of the flower and leave the lower part to layer. So I'll put that aside. Let's do the inside of the card. We'll take 19.5. Okay, let's use 19 instead of 19.5 or 19.8 centimeters. So I've gotten another card. So I'm going to just put 19.5, sorry. 19.8 has to go lower. So it's either we use 19.3 or 19.2, or we can use 19. Let me see if we use 19, how it's going to be. So with my ruler, I'm just going to place it in centimeters, working in centimeters. So I'm going to see if I place 19, put 19, how it's going to be. Okay. Or if I place my little card in here, when it opens, it's going to show a flower. Okay, I can have that. Okay, instead of going through all the stress, I'm going to just go through the other way. And we'll have here to write our sentiments. Can make something different from the norms. Okay, so I'll just go this other way, so that when we open our card, to show the decorative edge, you're going to see the nice edge. I hope you can see it. So because our card is going to stand like this when we snap it, and it's going to show this nice edge. I think that's the way for us to go. Let's create something from the nouns. All right. Going to there's a white edge I've cut from the print table. Let's see if we can. I'm just trying to see if we can layer it. Just okay. All right, not to give myself too much work. Let's get a green. Here's our green. So our green needs to be smaller than our. Let's see which one Can I put the green first and then put the blue on top and put the white and put the blue? Put that as a contrast so that the blue is on top, okay? So it's as if it's locking, okay? All right. We don't need to, do we need to put the white? Let's see. Let's see building. I didn't, I only pre-planned the side and the side that we're going to put a square in. But since we got this, now plans have changed. You have to start thinking. And okay. So let me go through the going to okay, this time we want the white to be smaller. Here's my scissors. We need you for the job here. So I'm just going to trim. So the green, we're going to place the green and see what we can design, what we can come up with. So place the green. And I'll place the white. The white is a bit smaller than the green to give a nice border. And then we'll place our blue edge on top. We still made yours. Then we have here for the sentiments. I think we'll go with this. I like the easy way out. It's still a design. It's unique. Sometimes when I make mistake, I just hope that's how the card is going to go. If I try to rectify and it's taking time, so that's how it's going to go. Although the texture of the white card is hammered, you can use any texture that you want to use. Okay, now we need to make sure it's the right way. I think this point is up here. Sorry about the scratching noise. I'm trying to make sure too much glue don't seep out of this of the glue tube of the tube, or from the tube. Sorry, from the tube. Too much glue came out there. I'm a bit tense. Sometimes I try to laugh when I'm doing a video. I'm always tense sometimes. Be it knitting video, be it a card making, I'm tense. Not all the time, sometimes, or most of the time. Okay, so here's our card. You can put your sentiment here, you can put a sentiment here, and here you can write a verse in there. You can even put a verse in there You can print and put others in there. So here's our decorative edge greeting card. We tried. Let's praise ourselves for once. And thanks for lending me your thinking ability. All right. So here is our card. Our decorative edge handmade greeting card. Thanks for joining me for this video of 12 crafts of card making, the technique of digital craft, a focus on photographic card used as a decorative edge in this greeting card design. Until then, happy crafting. You can visit the blog anino.ogunjobi.com and see what's happening in the crafting industry. Thank you.